Question 9, use synthetic division to completely factor this polynomial. Which expressions are factors of this polynomial? So what's tricky about this is they don't give us that initial factor. So we could use the graphing calculator to determine that initial factor from this list below. But let's just practice using synthetic division a lot because while it's not a super difficult process, it is a little confusing at first. But arithmetic, the only arithmetic required is adding and multiplication. So for starters, we're going to take the coefficients from this polynomial, which are 3, -14, -3, 54, and -40, and we're going to line them across the top of our page. So 3, -14, -3, 54, and 40. And then we're going to start with 3 here on the left side. We're going to add to it the number directly below it, which is nothing. 3 plus nothing is 3. So the number underneath that line is going to be multiplied. So the question, okay, what are we going to multiply it by? Well, let's look at the answer choices, and we're going to, again, kind of reverse engineer, work this problem backwards. And for now, we're going to skip the first answer choice because this one's going to end up making us work with fractions a lot, and we want to avoid that. We'll come back to it eventually, but let's start easy. And let's say this is the expression we want to check to see if it's a factor of the polynomial. So to do that, we're going to take x minus 4. We're going to take the root of x minus 4, which is positive 4, because if we substituted 4 for x, 4 minus 4 is 0. We're going to take the root of x minus 4, and that's going to be our multiplier. So I'm going to put 4 over here in a box, and then we're going to multiply. 4 multiplied by 3 gives us 12, and that goes underneath the -14. And then we're going to add the -14 and the 12 together, and that gives us -2. Now we're stop just for a second. If x minus 4 is a factor, we're going to end with a 0 at the end of this problem. So we'll see if that happens. So our next step is we're going to take 4 and multiply it by -2, and that gives us -8. -3 minus 8 is -11. And then we're going to multiply 4 times -11, and that's going to give us -44. 54 minus 44 is 10. Then we're going to multiply 4 times 10, and that's going to give us 40. And oops, this should have been a -40 right here. That was a negative, so it should have been a negative there. And then -40 plus 40 is 0. So this indeed works. This is one of our answers because it is a factor by definition. When we do the division process, we do not get a remainder. In fact, what we get the coefficients 3, -2, -11, 10. So those are the coefficients for our new polynomial, which is 3x to the third. Notice we just dropped down an exponent from the original problem of an x to the fourth. So the 3 goes with the x to the third. The -2 goes with an x squared. It's just one exponent less. -11 goes with just a regular x to the first. And then the +10, we're just going to tack that on at the end. Okay, so now this is our new problem. Let's change colors. And we're going to take those coefficients, 3, -2, -11, +10. And we're going to check the next answer, x minus 2. So we're going to take those numbers and we're going to add them. We're going to take the 3 and add it to the number underneath it, which is nothing. 3 plus nothing is 3. And then that 3 gets multiplied by +2, because +2 is a root of x minus 2. So then the 2 gets multiplied by the 3. 2 times 3 is 6. -2 plus 6 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. -11 plus 8 is -3. 2 times -3 is -6. 10 minus 6 is 4. Point is, it's not 0. So that means this is not an answer choice. Now, this is just thinking about how multiple choice questions work, but if x minus 2 doesn't work, my inkling is that x plus 2 is going to work, because why would they put two answer choices that are very similar to one another um, in this problem? So next we're going to check that one. We're going to check x plus 2, which means the only thing that'll change is the number in the box. Instead of a positive 2, it's now a negative 2, because negative 2 is a root of x plus 2. 3 plus nothing is 3, multiplied by negative 2 is negative 6. Negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8. We're going to multiply that by negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 8 is positive 16. Negative 11 plus 16 is 5. Multiplied by negative 2 gives us negative 10. And there we go. No remainder. So this is also an answer choice, because we end up with a remainder of 0. So the 3, negative 8, and 5 will now go with 3x squared. It's one exponent less than that x to the third, minus 8x plus 5. And then from there, we can factor this problem. So we could keep doing synthetic division, but at this point, factoring is going to be quicker. So to factor 3x squared minus 8x plus 5, we know the first two blanks have to multiply together to give us 3x. So the only possibilities to do that are 3x and x, because 3x times x is 3x squared. So we know, doesn't really help us narrow down the answer anymore, but we also know the last two numbers have to multiply together to give us positive 5. So that's got to be 5 and 1. Now, they could both be positive, or they both could be negative. Pretty much, and it also, these numbers could be switched. Actually, no, they couldn't be switched, because look, the 3x in both places goes with either positive 5 or negative 5. But I know that both of these numbers are going to be negative, and that's because this middle sign right here that goes with the 8x is negative. So it's got to be 3x minus 5 and x minus 1. We could have kept doing synthetic division for this problem and gotten the answer, but that was a quicker way to finish that one, because it was already a pretty long problem.